Hello and welcome everyone to the Tarot with Titania reading of the week for April 2nd to the 9th. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I am here to do a reading for the highest and greatest benefit of anyone listening now and in the future. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information that they most need to receive, and to provide that to them in the manner that they will most easily hear, understand, and integrate for their highest and greatest benefit, the benefit of their families and communities and of the greater world. I call upon my higher self and the higher selves of all those listening, now and in the future, to be present to facilitate this exchange, as well as an overlighting angel of communication, to make sure that the reading happens easily, effortlessly, covering all that needs to be covered for this time frame in the time that we have together. I'd also like to invite the 4 archangels to come and hold the 4 directions around us, creating a sacred container of light, of love, of wisdom, of clarity, of peace, of transformation, of healing, of anything that is in our collective heart and mind at this time. I call upon Raphael to hold the east, Michael to hold the south, Gabriel to hold the west, and Uriel to hold the north. Thank you for being here with us now. With our tone of love, of kindness, of clarity, of wisdom, of transformation, of healing, all these very high frequencies, anything that doesn't match these frequencies is welcome to go now. All right, so let's get on with the reading of the week. What do we need to know this week for highest and greatest good collectively? We may actualize our highest and best and be a clearing in the world for more light and love. Okay, past, present, future. Foundation card. And then how we need to conduct ourselves, how others are going to be, and the outcome. So we're starting here with the recent past, the card of ruin. So with this card, we see a woman bent over a child. We don't know what's happening with the child, but there's this concern that comes with this card. And of course, the name is very concerning itself, ruin, this energy of being devastated, of things being brought to waste. We have incoming energy, all these swords coming towards the pair here. We have all these dark shadows looming underneath them. And yet we have this lightning bolt that comes down from above. This energy of clarity, of wisdom, of transformation, of empowerment, of all of those good qualities is coming down through the darkness, through the adversity, and empowering her to have the strength and the wisdom that she needs, no matter what situation she faces. So this is the card of the recent past. As I said, the influence is waning, but it continues into the present, into the future. Setbacks, things that knock us off our center. We need to gather ourselves, center ourselves, and go forward in our best way possible, no matter what's going on in our experience. And I'm not trying to undermine anybody's challenges, because I know this is an intense time, especially with it's like 1 step forward, 3 steps back seems to feel like this is what's happening with our recovery from the COVID situation. But this is just reminding us to keep to our center, keep focused, keep going. Let ourselves be inspired by the higher, broader, wiser part of us, and we will be able to adjust and adapt and do what needs to be done to take care of ourselves and those we love. The present card, Nightmare. Oh my goodness, we're really starting with a couple of intense ones, eh? So the card of Nightmare is the card of being stuck believing in the dream. When we're having a nightmare, we really think it's real, and we're stuck in that space until we wake up, until we have a new perspective. And sometimes the dream has to get really darn intense before we finally do jolt ourselves out of it. But we can jolt ourselves out of it. It's important to remember that. We are the conscious creators of our experience. And so this card in our present environment is this energy of waking up, of needing to wake up, of needing to see what is and address it so that we can do what we need to do and transform what we need to transform. So here we sit with our present energy in this card of nightmare, 9 of Swords, needing to see things as they are. It's nice to be asleep, but we didn't come here to sleep. We came here to have a very full and robust experience in our human forms. We came here to be part of transformation, of healing, of change, and of being conscious. That was part of the deal. And when we wake up and we start to become conscious, we see things that we don't like. Because let's face it, humanity's been running amok for a little while and not been particularly conscious. And so the choices and the decisions that have been made have led us to places that are not happy, that are not feel good when you look at them. And there are distinctions that are coming to the surface even now that continue to come to the surface in our various institutions, our various establishments, and they need to be looked at seriously. So anyway, that's the energy that's in our present, is this energy of nightmare and waking up from the nightmare and understanding that we are sovereign in our experience and we get to choose where we're putting our attention, our focus, and whether we continue to choose to buy into the dream or whether we are going to be part of creating the new future for the world. The future card, the 6 of Hearts, is joy. A lovely, simple card. We've seen this one before. We've seen a lot of these cards before. But the joy card is particularly lovely. You have the 2 older ones carrying a little one between them in a basket. Lots of hearts, lots of roses, lots of very simple energy, the simple energy of a healthy childhood where one is just loved for who one is and supported in being that which we are, and enjoying the life and the that which others are. That simple thing about being good within one's own skin and being good with others who are good in their skin. So the simple energy of joy, 6 of Hearts, is the near future. Yes, we have work to do, but in the midst of the work that we're doing, there's always the joy, there's always the love, there's always the well-being, there's always the camaraderie, there's always the support. We just have to ask for it and look for it. We have to tune our energy to these things, to seeing these things. It's really important. Just for example, I don't know if any of you are wildcrafters, but my daughter and I like to go out and gather from the wild. And it's so fascinating because when you first get out there, it can be challenging to see what it is that you're looking for. It's like you haven't tuned your vibration to it. And then you find your first one, and that's it. You've aligned yourself with the energetics or the field of that particular thing. We were looking for nettles the other day, so it was nettles that we were looking at. And so once my daughter found the first one, it's like we just fell into the nettle field and we related to the nettle field, and then it was easy for us to locate other areas of nettles. Of course, we could talk about wildcrafting, but I just want to say that we do it with consciousness and intention and love and gifts. Anyway, all that to say, I'm talking about tuning your energy to a particular frequency or field. And in this case, what this is reminding us is we get to choose where we're tuning our energy. And are you tuning it to joy? Are you tuning it to love? Are you tuning it to well-being? Or are you tuning it to misery and suffering? These very important questions that we need to ask ourselves and continually ask ourselves, because of course we're human. We fall down the hole all the time and it's just what we do. But we have choice in every moment about pulling our attention and our energy back and redirecting it wherever it's most effective and helpful for us. The foundation card of this reading, why we're having the reading this week, we have the Queen of Wands. And she could be an Aries, a Leo, or Sagittarius. Those are the astrological signs that go with the wand suit, the fire suit. But the Queen of Wands is a very creative individual. So kings and queens are the maturation of their suit. They understand their element. They understand it and can leverage it and work with it beautifully and efficiently and effectively. So the Queen of Wands is this very creative individual, a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and she can see the possibility in others, and she's able to draw from them their creative energy, their passion, their purpose, and move them into expressing it. So the foundation of the reading is about these qualities of creative energy and how generative that is for us. And allowing ourselves to tap into that energy to renew us, to inspire us, to keep us going in a positive state. So this creative energy, it's difficult to rest in it if we're stressed. This is true. But when we give ourselves permission to be there, it renews us, it fills us up, it gives us a new perspective. It's like we drop into that soft focus space and answers start to come when we put ourselves in the generative creative area. And that can mean anything. That could be a knitting project, that could be building a fence, it could be gardening, whatever it is that brings you into your present moment, into your present now moment. Often it means working with your hands, doing something. It just brings you into your now, lets the monkey mind that's always running usually relax, and just allowing that flow of thoughts without being too attached to any of them. It just sort of kind of goes on while we work on our creative project. And as a result, solutions and ideas come to us. So don't underestimate the benefit and the well-being that will come from allowing yourself to do a creative project, to give yourself permission to get into that generative energy and create. That's the foundation card for this week. So remembering that and it's the female energy, which is a softer, collaborative, intuitive, imaginative, non-linear kind of energy. So just tapping into that field will be very, very helpful. Okay, how we need to conduct ourselves this week. Move our friends over here. Celebration. Okay, so another iteration of this idea of where are you putting your energy, your focus, your attention, and celebrating it. Celebrating the good. Looking for the good. This has been a theme throughout the past year. This idea of come back and celebrate what is good in your life, what is working in your life. Be there with it, honor it, recognize it, give it energy, give it your attention, give it your focus. Where our attention and our focus goes is what we pull more of into our experience. So if you're focused on the suffering and things not going right and getting all wound up, then that's what you're going to pull more of into your field. More to get excited about, more to be wrapped up about, more to be in drama about, more to be concerned about. Whereas if you can shift over to this energy of celebrating, the first seeds are coming up in the pots that I started. That's something to celebrate. There's just that generative energy. It's so beautiful, and it's such a reminder of the abundance and wonder of life, and how this little brown thing can sprout and become a green living thing is such a miraculous and wonderful miracle in one's direct experience. So that's something that I'm going to be celebrating today as I enjoy my garden's beginnings. It can be your health. You're happy, you're healthy. Those close to you are well. It could be that you have a roof over your head and good work to do. It can be that you have the capacity to be of service to others. It can be anything, truly. It can be, I have this great knitting project that I'm excited about. Whatever it is, it's okay to just bask in that celebration of it, to bask in the satisfaction, the well-being that comes to you in your field, and whatever that looks like. And again, what we give our attention to is what will become more of in our experience. That will multiply. We will have more reasons to be in celebration. We will have more reasons to be joyful. We will have more reasons to have the fulfillment that comes from creative expression, doing something with our hands, being present in this moment. So very important to realize that we are the creators of our experience, and we need to claim that and make conscious use of that energy and those abilities. How others are going to be. Our first major arcana of this spread is the card of Judgment. Yeah, Judgment's an interesting card. So there are two two words that I find to go well with this card. One is judgment and one is discernment. And the distinction I make between the two of them is that judgment is when we make others wrong. When we make others wrong for their choices, or we make ourselves wrong, there's a hardness about it and a lack of understanding, a lack of compassion. There's just this, they're wrong for what they're doing, or I'm wrong because I did this. And of course, that kind of energy doesn't get us anywhere. It just isolates the other person. It isolates us from ourselves, from being kind and loving to ourselves, and we get into a hard place with ourselves and with others. And that simply doesn't serve us. Being in judgment does not serve us. Whereas being in discernment, you see the hand is reaching up through the heavier, denser layers and is reaching for something more, reaching for understanding, reaching for that broader perspective that serves. And discernment is about that kind of energy. Discernment is about being clear about what serves you in the moment, about using what other people are doing in their experience not to make them wrong, but to get clear about what's okay for you in your experience. You may look at another and go, yeah, no, that's not for me. But you don't have to make them wrong for their choices. The difference is clarifying for yourself what's appropriate for you and then moving in that direction. As I said, there's nothing wrong with leveraging the experience of others to deepen our self-understanding, our own discernment, and helping us to guide ourselves towards what it is that we do want. That contrast, again, it is such a blessing and such a gift, and it provides us with what we need when we allow ourselves to move with it. So this is sitting in the position of how others are going to be, which is kind of interesting. So in this case, I was just talking about using others as an opportunity for our greater discernment. What others do gives us the opportunity to either make them wrong, make them bad for their choices, or to say, you know what, I prefer this. Or my personal distinction is I want this for me. I need to do this for me. I have to move in this direction for me. So in which case others become a clearing for us to have greater understanding of ourselves and what our preferences are and what we want to do. So this sitting in the other position of others is this opportunity for us to look around and to leverage our experience and our interactions with others, our relationships with others, and to gain greater clarity about ourselves and our place in the world from the choices that they're making. As I said, we have a choice. We can go into judgment. We can go into discernment. It's very important to realize where are you putting your energy. Oh, and it's so easy to go into judgment. I mean, we have a culture that cultivates judgment. We all do it. We all make other people wrong, and especially if we feel afraid or scared or threatened, then we'll definitely make other people wrong. And we're seeing a lot of that in our culture, a lot of that, to the point where there's censorship happening. Other voices that are not that of the mainstream narrative are not even getting an opportunity to express themselves. And that's deeply concerning because, of course, as we've talked about before, the solutions that we seek don't come from the same level of thinking that created the problem. We have to move beyond that nucleus of thinking and expand. That's why diversity is so important. That's why when you look at nature, you see how diverse nature is. Ecosystems are brilliantly diverse environments. Many, many, many different species exist in those environments. And as a result of that diversity, there's a richness and a life and a thrivingness that happens. When you have monocultures, we see what happens with that. The soil dies. There are pests that start to feed on the crops. It's not a natural thing for everything to be the same. What is natural, because we're part of this planet, is to tend towards diversity. And so when we start to shut ourselves off of diversity and make others wrong for having different perspectives, we are not cultivating life. We are shutting life down. Really important distinction. Okay, and the outcome this week is the King of Wands. Right, so getting down to work. making things happen, the linear counterpart, the more masculine linear counterpart to our queen energy here, which is the foundation. So this energy of creativity, creative juju, is really, really important. It's really what's helping to give us new life, to give us new ideas, to expand our thinking, and to provide us with creative solutions to the problems that we're facing. We're all here to provide solutions, large and small. Don't undermine or underestimate the creative energy that you embody and what you're meant to do with it. And it may not be clear what you're meant to do with it. Maybe right now it's simply about having the ideas. Get that notebook, jot them down, just let them be. Sometimes it's all about us being the lightning rod to the inspiration, just to draw it down into the human field, and then somebody else picks that energy up and runs with it. You got to think about those stories about how the radio was invented on both sides of the ocean at the same time. The field of humanity was ready and ripe for that, and there were receptive individuals who were ready to hold that and bring it through. They had the wherewithal, the skills, and the knowledge. Sometimes you get inspiration, you just don't know how it's going to happen. And I would offer that perhaps it's not for you to manifest, but rather for you to be the receptive vehicle to receive that inspiration, that idea, and just make it part of your biology so that it becomes part of the collective human field. So the outcome this week is this energy of the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is somebody who knows what to do with that energy. He knows how to make it so. He has a plan and he works it out and he brings it into to manifestation. There's this sort of practical approach to the creative energy and juice that comes with the King of Wands. And that's what we're moving towards, are these wonderful creative solutions that are inspiring, that enliven us, and that help to move us forward. And that's what we're moving towards this week. But it's important to give ourselves time to play, to be in this joyful, creative, generative space so that we can bring through and land those bigger ideas. And then, whether it's us or somebody else, that collective field will take them and make them so and make them part of our future. Again, we all have our part. You don't have to worry about whether you're the King of Wands or not. Really, it doesn't matter. We're each here to play our unique role, to be part of that diversity. And those who have that role are excited and inspired by that. Those who have other roles were excited and inspired by that. Your highest enthusiasm is always an indicator of what the life force is here to experience through you. That's your joy. That's what you move towards. That's what you need to give your attention to. And then celebrate that you get to do that. Celebrate that you get to enjoy unfolding your gifts, learning about your gifts, sharing your gifts, and being a clearing for that particular frequency on the planet. Because that wicked, beautiful, incredible diversity is what we're here to do and be as humanity. And it's wonderful when we can just allow ourselves to be diverse, the diverse people that we are in our families and our smaller units and our communities, and then on a planet-wide basis. And again, of course, appreciating the diversity that Mother Earth has to offer us and recognizing the impact that we've had on her, that we've been diminishing her diversity. We need to get back to being in relationship with her, co-creating with her, and supporting life, generating more life for all. So that's the big spread for this week. Let's close that one up, and then we'll go on to the energies of the card of to grow on this week. So don't get stuck here. Just use it as information. Use it as your springboard to move towards what is wanted. It's part of what we're doing as humanity is growing up and learning how it all works, learning how life works. Life gives us contrast. Sometimes it's intense. From that contrast, we get a lot clearer about what we do want, and then we can move in the direction of what we do want. And don't look back unless you want to go that way. Okay. Moving on to the card of the week. The card to grow on. So the idea of the card to grow on is just a summarizing card, one card. If we're just going to carry one card, because sometimes it can seem like a lot to have a whole spread to carry with us in our consciousness for the week. So I like to just summarize that with the energies of the card to grow on. An encapsulation of what we need. And the cards keep leaping out of the deck. They must have lots to say. Okay, what is it that we need to know most for the week ahead so that we can be at our best, offer our best, and grow beautifully into the more expanded individuals that we are here to become? A major arcana, the card of strength. This is lovely because it really does talk to what we were just speaking of. So the story of the strength card, the major arcana strength, number 8, is this woman came across a lion that was really upset. It had a thorn in its paw, and through her tremendous gentleness, she was able to get the thorn out of the paw of the lion, and as a result, the lion is a faithful friend. And if we look closely at the card, I don't know if we'll be able to get that to focus. She has an infinity symbol over her head, which signifies that she's conscious, she's intentional, she's connected to the broader, wiser part of her, the eternal part of her. And so symbolically what this is speaking of is we become, as we evolve as a human species, as we become more than we were, we've moved away from being animals and we've become more and more intentional and conscious. And we're getting past the level of the mind being the end-all and be-all, and we're actually expanding beyond that. The lion here represents our animal selves, our lower selves, our more reactive, smaller selves. And this is reminding us that the broader, wiser part of us, the part that's connected to the part that's alive and conscious and eternal, is here to help us become more than we were, is here to, through gentleness, through kindness, through support, through compassion, we come to befriend our animal selves, our lower nature, and to guide it so that we still have the benefits of it, but it's not dominating our consciousness, dominating who we be in the world. We're more than animals. We're more than this reactive, instinctive response to life. We have minds, we have hearts, we have consciousness, we have spirituality, we have all of these pieces which allow us to see things from a broader perspective. And we're here to be conscious co-creators with life. It's just a different experience than being at the animal level. The animal level, again, is just responds to life in the nowness. And it's not to say that we don't need to do that, because we do. We need to get back into our now and recognize what's going on right here, right now. But it's leveraging all of our aspects and bringing them into the present moment and making our life choices, our decisions, and our future from the now moment. So this card, in essence, is summarizes what we had before. This idea of intentionally, guiding the lower aspect of us, the lower aspect of us might be the part that would get caught in drama, get caught and be stuck in the drama and wringing hands and falling in the hole and just being miserable and not waking up. And what I'm seeing here is that the higher self is the part that we want to cultivate so that we don't spend so much time in the holes, that we don't spend so much time in the drama. We recognize that the contrast of life is an opportunity for our greater clarity, and we move towards it. And we choose not to be in judgment of others. We choose to be in discernment. We choose to be wiser. We choose to be broader. We choose to be kinder. We choose to be more loving. That's all what this card represents, this card of strength. And it's what that other reading represented as well. We have a lot of opportunity here. We have a lot of choice. And this is part of what's going on for us as a species, is this awakening. And it's happening for us individually and collectively. And the more of us as individuals step into this and hold this newer frequency more and more often. And it's not like, I'm sure for some people enlightenment maybe happens, but I think it's an ongoing process. You spend time in that state and then you come back to lesser consciousness. And then you go back and you have these waves of enlightenment, or that more connected perspective. And eventually, through practices of meditation, through intentionally pursuing a life of consciousness, we spend more and more time in that broader perspective, that some people call enlightenment. And we can embody that. We can hold it more and more and more. That's the journey, is to become more and more that aspect, and to have more of that in our field guiding us in every moment. And the more time we spend there, the easier it gets. It's just like practice, like practicing a musical instrument or anything. The more we spend time there, the more it becomes who we are and how we respond to life. And that's all encapsulated in this little card. So our card to grow on this week is the energy of strength. Being kind, being generous, being loving, and thinking twice when we start to drop into our animal reactive self. Becoming more responsive, kinder, wiser, giving ourselves space and time, and being nice to ourselves when we aren't there all the time, because it's a process. Well, it's good readings again. Lots of information here. Lots of good information. And it's often the same information, but that's okay, because when we hear it differently, it goes in a little more. So hopefully I'm helping you to hear it a little more. I know it's helping me to hear it a little more. We'll all get better and better as we keep going, right? Creator, thank you. This is your daughter, Titania. Thank you for this opportunity to do this reading, to be of service. I ask that you be with us this week. Help us to be more discerning, less judgmental. Help us to unhook from making other people wrong, and instead use the information of what we're judging to understand ourselves better, and to redirect our life and reorganize ourselves towards the things that are important to us, that are more in alignment with us, allowing others to have their experience. We can't really interfere in the experience of anyone else. They're here to have their own expansive experience. We wouldn't want somebody meddling with us, so it's helpful if we can remember that and not meddle with somebody else. Much as we love them and want them to do the right thing, they ultimately are the decider of what is the right thing for them. I just ask that you be with us, Creator, as we continue to evolve and unfold and get through this strange pandemic thing. Help us to wake up. Help us to see clearly. Help us to know what is best for us. Help us to have the courage and the perseverance and the wherewithal to go for what it is that we want. Help us to have the creative imaginings, the solution mind, the generative qualities that we need to find the solutions to the problems or the challenges that we face, to the obstacles that we face, so that we can clear the debris from our path and move powerfully forward along our journey of becoming the moreness that we are, allowing more of the eternal, broader, wiser part of us to come through and exist in our field, so that we are thriving in this world, living from a place of enthusiasm and creativity and co-creativity and collaboration and love. Thank you for this opportunity to do this good work. Blessings to each and every person who's listening to this recording, now and in the future. May we all flourish and come through this brighter and shinier and more effective in the world than ever. The reading is at an end for this week, and I will see you next Friday. Lots of love.